Hi everyone, this is Jax here, and I'm with a very special guest, Janene.
Hi.
And uh, Janene is a very, very special person that I've had the honor of meeting recently again. And we met initially at Standing Rock, and you may recognize Janene as the one of the main security people at Standing Rock, as well as wearing all kinds of hats that I hope to hear about. So.
Yeah.
This is a real honor for us to be sharing the space today. We've been together for the last week in the Black Hills with some dear sisters, and we've been led by our elder, Cheryl Angel, to many sacred sites in the Black Hills, and we've been learning the importance of what's happened in these hills and the story that we weren't taught and that we need to hear about how sacred
Yeah.
this place is. So without further ado, I'd love to hear you share some of who you are so that we can hear a bit of your story and what's going on with you right now.
So the Sacred Stone, or I was at Ocheti for the security and everything. I was on a couple different securities at different times, but it was a lot of it. Even when I wasn't security, you don't really sleep without watching everybody. That's what you do. You just watch. You're protecting everybody. It's your home. Literally, it's your home, and so you just watch out for everybody. But the security thing, I have a lot of issues with authority, and when there's structure and stuff, I'm more like, I'll still watch. I just won't listen. And that's
Mm.
not just with security. It's like with everything that I do, even my bosses at work. And I don't like that structure. I don't like colonialism. Like, I don't like having a boss. Protocol is one thing, and having respect and doing things in a good way. But having that boss, and we were all equal. Like at camp, we were all, nobody was the boss. Nobody was in control. The tribes were there and stuff, but nobody was there was no chief or no there was no one it was the people coming together and making things work together, because that's what you had to do in that situation. You work together. um and some things worked out and some things didn't, and that's what happens when you work together. You have to figure out how you're going to work and succeed when there's this force that's coming at you violently. And there's still the drama within the family, within the structure, within the hold, with infiltrators coming in, with trying to live your daily life with your own personal, like, you get to be groups of families, small families that work within a tribe. And you get those close ones that are in your immediate home. Then you get the surrounding, the support, whether they're frontliners, whether they're cooks, whether they need food to help keep things, whether they need fire, fireplaces, or what. We had everything. There was medics. Everybody was important. Everybody had a role. And so to be like a title, like, I did some security, I did scouting, I did massage and stuff, but really what you really do when you're in a situation like that, you do what you do, like, in every day. If you're a mother, be a mother to the people out there. If you're a cook, feed the people that are out there. If you're a massage therapist, work on the people that are out there. If you're strong, do the heavy lifting, do the work. But yeah,
That's some of your story. Yeah.
It is. It is. And so they're Standing Rock. There's more recently what I'm going through now, because I fight for the water, and no matter where I'm at, if I'm in Standing Rock, if I'm in Washington, wherever, if there's a water issue, the Black Hills, that's where water protectors go. It's not a fad. It's not a water is life. It's not a club. It's a lifestyle. You're walking, you're fighting every single day. There's an indigenous person fighting for you. They could be in jail. They can be fighting for their rights. They can be fighting for whatever it is, the boundaries, all the rules and regulations. There's always somebody resisting. not just here, like everywhere around the world, there's indigenous people fighting every single day, and people don't know that. And I know that I am one. I am fighting all the time. And people that know me at work, they think if they don't see you in your regalia, they don't look at you as being traditionally native. They look at you like you're just another coworker, and but they don't realize that they're on the same exact land that your family, your lineage has been on since the time immemorial. Now, the time immemorial, and I try to explain different things, little things like that. Vocabulary is huge. That's why language is the first thing taken away from you. The time immemorial is the time that anybody can remember, that they can recall that's when that happened. And so we are talking about me being on land that I have been on. We have not left, and that's where we have been. Then I'm following all these other people, like the structure that's come up around me, and I tell this to people, like when you move into a neighborhood and you've got these subdivisions, they're new housing developments, then the deers and the animals and things come through. The cougars are in the trees, that the deer, that's their path, that's where they eat. And all this stuff is going around them, and so you have to, where's the deer gonna go? That's its home. Well, I'm the deer, and so it's like everything has come up around.
Wow. The way you said that is so profound.
It's really hard. Because there's a lot of emotions, a lot of spirit, a lot of, you feel the empathy for the animals, because you are them. And not just for them, but for you, for life, for your children. Yeah, it gets really emotional.
Yeah.
But the more that you fight, it's like you go through life and you go through all these trials and traumas. I know I have. But you learn to forgive others. You learn to see things clearly. You learn what real trauma is. And so the little things, they're not important. You can see what's important. Like, I don't know, just trauma. To be able to see and experience so much trauma to where you don't fear it. You've seen a lot.
You've seen a lot. Wow. Wow. And
this isn't just me. This is most indigenous people around the world. Like, everybody.
Right. The reality of colonization is that it's everywhere. And it's happening every day. This is not something that happened in the past. This is not, oh, it was so terrible what happened to our First Nations people back in the 1700s, but, you know.
It's happening now. Like, now. There's reservations that we were talking about it the other day. Yesterday, that at camp, there's structures that were there at Ocheti that were better structures than people had at home on the reservations, neighboring reservations. There was, and that's huge. That's huge, because the living conditions and stuff. There's we lived with so little, but so much, and we made everything work. But there's still a huge hurting. It's like our healing and stuff. It's really a lot of you see as a urban native, because I grew up in the city, like, well, on the reservation, but ended up in the city as an adult.
And where did you grow up?
In Yakima, in the Yakima Nation on the reservation in Wapato and Toppenish in Washington State. And so I'm, Silxt is my tribe's name, Silxt. The how I introduce myself, I tell people that because everybody always says, what tribe are you from? What tribe are you? Colville is what you will recognize. I have to tell the lie that's been imprinted on people before I can really tell them who I am, because that's how they recognize me. That's how they see me. They've never even heard of the person that I am, but they're on our land. But they've never even heard our name. And so I have to tell the lie that they've been told, so then I can correct that lie, so then I can really tell them, well, this is who I am. And so this is who you've been told that I am, but that's not me.
That's not you. And it unfortunately falls in your hands to have to educate
people. Yeah.
Which is a huge undertaking.
It's huge. It's huge because it's a pride thing. People don't want to hear like what they've looked at as heroes and things. They don't want to hear like Columbus. I look at Columbus like he's the first sex trafficker that came. He's the first one, and he brought his men camps, just like the pipelines bring their men camps. They murder, kidnap, rape, molest our women and children, because these men camps, when the men camps come, those are camps full of men. They are men. There's women, and all these camps come up around neighborhoods, around reservations that are poor. They're usually Native or African American neighborhoods. They're very poor. They're the worst level economically neighborhoods that they literally bulldoze their way through. Well, when the camps go up, the murdering and missing indigenous go right hand in hand. That rate goes up right with it. And people don't see that when they look at the pipelines and stuff. You put a man camp anywhere, it's going to happen to the closest community of women. It's going to happen. It's not science. It's going to happen. And so that's a huge part of the fight that goes hand in hand. The abuse is from the schools. People forget. Our grandparents and aunties and stuff, they went to boarding schools. They were ripped away from families. They were ripped away from mothers. This isn't hundreds of years ago. This is my grandparents. This is my aunties. These are people within my generation, like the elders. And that is so, people just look like, oh, they're alcoholics, they're on drugs, they're this, and, they're ugly, they're dirty, they're drunks. One of the elders was sharing stories, and she was saying she's from the Puyallup tribe. Just reminiscing about being beaten stoic. They couldn't laugh, they couldn't cry. If they clenched their fists, they would still be beat. They got beaten stoic. So when you see the pictures, and so these are the stories that we hear in the teachings about the water, the teepee, the home, the respect for the elders, and just the whole appreciating the animals, appreciating just respect. You're respecting yourself and learning who you are, where you come from, where your food comes from. Like little things like the way that an animal dies, if it gets I was telling you earlier about if they're traumatized, if they're hurt, if they're not loved, they're not that meat isn't healthy. Is if it was killed with a clean shot, the adrenaline doesn't go through the meat, and it's better for you. They're giving their strength, they're proud, they're sacrificing them, and it goes into you. But when it's not, and it's just farmed in the worst conditions and the worst everything, and you're eating that that's what we call that you are what you eat.
You're eating that fear.
That sickness.
It's so heavy, it's so much, it's so widespread. And you know, coming back to what you were saying about the man camps, I remember being at Standing Rock, and the women came and marched to the sacred fire and shared their stories with the red, and they shared that 1 out of every 3 First Nations women will be raped, abused, or molested in their life, and then 1 out of every 3 will be abused, molested, or raped every year of their life. Those are the statistics.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize the missing and murdered Indigenous women. They're all over the place, but they're all independently ran. So then when somebody says, "Oh, this the missing and murdered Indigenous women," there's a bunch of missing. There's some in Canada. They're everywhere, but they are high. The numbers are high, and that doesn't surprise me. But we are trying to focus on, not me specifically, but the people. I don't know. I'll tell the story. They aren't just. They're trying to expand from just the women to go to the men. It's the whole population. The focus, the young boys, the young, And so it's huge. Sex trafficking is huge. Murder with the cases don't get researched. They just get left on the count. They don't look into the case and stuff. They're starting to make laws and stuff where they have to investigate further barely now. But no. So, but then, like I was saying, for the fight for the water, like, what do I do? So, the occupation at the Capitol was started by Paul. They're from the Puyallup tribe. Paul, and I don't know, there was a bunch of people involved that I didn't even know who started it and everything. And I got invited into the Tarpey when they were getting ready to settle for the night. There was only 5 women in the Tarpey, and I was like, and being security at camp, you just kind of, you watch people, it's innate in you.
Do you mind giving us a little bit more backdrop about what you've been a water protector for a long time now, and
since Standing Rock,
Since Standing Rock, and so what you're working on currently is another way that you're protecting the water.
Oh yeah, everything that I do,
everything you do,
literally everything that I do. I literally work so that I can fight, and so my coworkers, my boss, everybody knows, and so they know the risks that I take. They know I can go to jail. They know that I'm on trial. They know I have my schedule, so I pick days. I'm just like this. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be gone until the 11th, and then but I have a lot of support on a lot of different levels. My family, my friends, other water protectors. We just network, and Standing Rock was huge, and those are contacts that are made. They're all over the world, and so they're Indigenous people. But we do. I've been studying a lot of law because I got arrested at the occupation of the Capitol on the morning. It was 4:20 in the morning. I got arrested by 4:25 is what is signed in the morning on the 4th day. And so just going to court and using criminal trespassing 2nd degree, using the court as my platform. The 2nd degree charge is a 90-day sentence with whatever. I don't know. The restitution they were saying was around $4,000 at that point, because the lawn got trampled. There was hundreds of people there during the day, but then at night when we started the occupation.
I don't know who called to me. Did you?
No,
but I would love some.
Yes, please.
But I just have a little bit.
I've got some more coffee.
Okay, don't get it up. I'll just make this much.
Okay.
I just want to make sure Cheryl has some in the morning.
Oh yeah, we have some in the morning.
And so, what was I saying?
So we were talking about what you're working on now. Yeah.
But,
4:20 in the morning.
Yeah,
4:25.
yeah. Well, I know that they were arresting and everything, but yeah, you gotta edit all that out.
I know. We'll have to figure out how to edit for sure. Well, I'll figure it out. Yeah, I'll have to send it. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But we were talking about them arresting and then just using the trial as a platform to, even though it's a misdemeanor charge, which has a 90-day sentence, and then a $4,000 fine for the damage to the lawn and whatever happened. But so that's 90 days of my life. That's to do what we're doing and to bring awareness to what's going on. It's worth 90 days of my life to save millions of people, like not just now, but continuing the 7 generations and there's 90 days. It would be selfish for me to be like, oh no, my 90 days of my life means more than that. It's not. Like, my life doesn't mean more. That everything that we're fighting for means more than my 90 days. And that's the worst case scenario. But I am lucky because Washington, it's a really liberal state. It's easier. Like, I know there's people over here, I know there's people everywhere that are making sacrifices bigger than me, because even though they're locking down the machines or they're doing different things, they have to deal with different prejudices, they have to deal with different audiences. And Washington is pretty open, and they have an ear, they'll listen, they hear you without the forceful impact, without the abuse, the violent, like no regard for law abuse. And so that if I can do something at the same level and make it like without putting them at risk and doing something, so it makes mine look little. It's like mine is so soft, and why wouldn't I? Why would I let others continue to suffer and risk years of their lives, like years, when I can try to help with 90 days? Who wouldn't? Like, who wouldn't do that? And so, like, it would be, when you see the things that we saw at camp, I look at it as dishonorable to go back to your life. I had a massage practice, and did all this stuff, and I'm like, why? That would be so selfish to just go home and take care of me, when there's so many thousands of people that are still transitioning, still going. That's just selfish. They're still fighting. There's still people at camps. There's still, you go home and like, an elder doesn't have heat. That's no different than an elder at camp not having fire. And so go help them pay that light bill. Go help them. Don't just wait and be like, oh, well, we're not at camp, we're just in the real world or whatever. You got to maintain that. We got to take care of each other, even if we're in the city, even if we're wherever we are. Look at it like if you're at camp. Look at it like, oh, they don't have firewood, let me go get wood. Do they have food? Oh, like, it's just taking care of yourself.
I hear how committed you are to serving.
It's not a choice. It's not a choice. It's like a, yeah.
This is your life.
It is.
You're fighting for what you believe in, and you're fighting for life.
It's my life, yeah. It's like, I have a video from camp, and I was on the front line. I was like, yeah, I don't care if I'm 103. If I'm still here, you're gonna see me. It's like, you're gonna see me. And so,
that's right. So I feel like we could talk for hours, and I'm so happy about that. And I also wonder, how can we support you with what you have going on coming up? So you occupied the lawn of the state capitol in your home state of Washington.
I wasn't alone, because I'll get yelled at by the elders. I get yelled at all the time. I was not alone. It started out, like I said, there was hundreds of people, and namely Paul. I say Paul because he's the one that had set it up. It was his vision. And so there was a lot of people, and then there ended up being 7 women in the tarpy, but then there was all the support on the outside, including Paul. And then there were allies that had stayed and stuff. So I was never alone. The only time that I got arrested alone, but there was no time that I was alone. And so, yeah.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah,
definitely.
because it gets intense with the details when they come out. And so yeah, it does. But everybody that was out there for any part of it, I don't care what part you held, thank you. Even if it takes all of us. Even those that are reading or listening or watching, if you weren't watching, if this wasn't, we need you too. We literally need anybody, everybody. I tell people that for the rest of my life, I can honestly be like, no matter what, I know I fought for you, and I'm glad I did. But so anyways, what you were asking, how can you support me? My next court date is October 28th at Thurston County District Court in Olympia, Washington, at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And so that's the court date. That's where it's going to be. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what to ask for. I'm like, I don't know. But I guess funding is good for the attorneys and stuff. They're working pro bono, so anything that we can give to help or help witnesses to come and travel, help. I don't know. Just pray. Be aware, kind of listen to the court cases and what's going on. I don't know. The financial, if that's financial, it can be financial, but I don't have a GoFundMe or anything set up. That's why I work. I try to, I admire fundraisings and stuff, but I think people should be self-sufficient and be able to support themselves. But when it comes to like the court cases and the bringing in stuff like that, yeah, you can get help, but don't try to live off the movement and try to you got to still sustain yourself. Not just, it's just healthy. It's just you still have the right to live a life. I mean, this is a lifestyle. It's a lifelong fight. We still need to be able to maintain and be parents to our kids. And it'll go in phases. Like, people will be fighting, they'll get tired, they'll need a rest. People will come, they'll be like, they can sustain a little bit longer, so they stay a little longer. When these guys get tired, there's more people coming, and more people, new people coming, more allies, and just everybody needs that time to rest, and self-care is huge, because it is. And people get tired, people feel guilty for leaving the fight, people feel, with any work like this, you get the internal, the bickering, the drama, the hurt, the pride, but I didn't get noticed, or they're trying to get too noticed. All that is distractions. It's distracted when you see your vision, like, okay, the water, I'm worried about the water. Well, this person's mad because this is going to get ruined, or this is going to be taken, or whatever it is. It's the water. I have to learn the laws to protect the water. I have to focus on the water. Just to be, you get to see that's a smokescreen. Like, you get to see what's real. Like, if it's going to help in court, if it's going to be a sincere, like a prayer, you're going to put energy, you're going to put work. This is work. Hiking those sacred sites is work. I don't care what they don't call it a pilgrimage for nothing.
Ain't
It's
that
like,
the truth?
that is work. And so,
and could you share a little bit about what you brought for your journey, as much as you feel comfortable?
yeah.
Just to, so you know, water protector is a word that I for one am continuously learning the depth of, you know, like what does it really mean to be a water protector? And you are such a bright, shining example of that, because you're living it every day, Janene.
Yeah, I am. I really am.
Yes.
I talk to everybody. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm surprised I still have a job. I'm like, oh, I'm here to relax. I'm sorry, but you asked me.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to respect that and respond.
Yeah, you got bigger fish to fry. This is like, and you're an amazing healer as well, doing that massage work that you do, that healing work. So a lot of hats you're wearing. Also mother, also grandmother.
So one of the things that was huge for the journey, when I started, well, I was in the middle of the occupation. So at the Capitol, my daughter, my granddaughter, and my grandson was 4 months, 4.5 months. And then my granddaughter was 4.5. And then my daughter, she's 26. And so they had a ceremony for me. And it was like a sitz bath with plants and medicine, just different things. They did my feet, so then my grandson was baby, so they were dipping his hands in the water, and my granddaughter, everybody's like blessing my feet for my stand and everything that I was fighting for. And at the same time, my body and my spirit is learning the touching, the energy from my grandchildren, and like this is what reminding my spirit and my body what I'm fighting for, because they're turning the water. It's a ceremony. It's not a big show. It's not. We're literally at my daughter's house on the couch, and it's very intimate. It's very family. It's not like a big thing, but it's huge for our family. And so they gave me this water for the whole time of my stand, to be on the ground, to be praying, and to keep me strong, and to remind the ground that I'm occupying that this is what we're fighting for. So the ground knows, I know, my spirit knows, my grandchildren know, my family knows. So I had a little bit of that water left. So on the hike, we went in the first creek that was free flowing, that was clear. We sat and we did some prayers and offerings and stuff. So I got the water that was left and I offered that. And then I gathered water from the stream, and then that I'm going to take back to my daughter and my grandkids. And so that way the prayers from our family go to the mountain, and then it feeds and nourishes the mountain. And then the prayers, the water can remember we're fighting, my grandchildren are fighting, I'm fighting for you, and we're bringing this here for you.